Frighteners was the film Peter Jackson wrote, produced, and directed before moving into the Lord of the Rings franchise. It is a unique film that plays with the genre of horror in a supremely interesting way. What begins as a near slapstick comedy about a medium who abuses his power to con unwary locals quickly becomes something entirely different. Soon, Frank, played by Michael J. Fox, finds himself caught up in a supernatural mystery when death himself appears to be hunting people. This zany film combines humor and horror perfectly to give us an unforgettable experience. As always, Jackson's direction is superb, as is the iconic cast's performance, a top choice of mine for the horror comedy genre. If you were to watch either half of this film on its own, you would experience either a comedy or horror. The ability of Peter to raise the stakes without compromising his story and seamlessly combine both halves together is remarkable. This is a must-see for cinema snobs, if only because of its one-of-a-kind story structure. Identity is a mystery thriller with slasher undertones. The premise of this weird film is that a group of strangers find themselves stranded at a motel during a rainstorm. Soon after settling in, people start dying one by one in brutal fashions. As the night stretches on, things begin to get peculiar as bodies vanish and unsettling common ground is found between these supposed strangers. Identity will keep you guessing right up until the final moments. It may be a bit campy in places, but the intriguing plot and excellent acting more than redeem it. This is a movie that will bring you back for a second viewing as you try to figure out exactly what it is that's happening. Perfect choice if you want a horror film that's a bit on the lighter side with a compelling story underlying everything. 13 Game of Death is a Thai horror film that is oddly considered a black comedy by some. Personally, I didn't find it very funny, but its concept is equally intriguing and horrifying. Basically, the plot is that this down-on-his-luck average Joe gets a call from an unknown person telling him that if he performs 13 simple tasks, he will win 100 million Thai dollars. As you would expect, it starts off pretty harmless and quickly escalates to downright disturbing. By the time Pusip wants to back out, it's far too late for anything like that. This film has such an interesting core concept that not only was it remade in America, a remake you can skip by the way, but the new horror film Nerve blatantly rips off the concept, replacing this down-and-out worker with a hot young couple, as Hollywood likes to do. Of the versions of this story out there, this one is certainly the best. The dub is so-so, not terrible, but not good either. I would recommend the subs if you're willing to read a little bit, but at the end of the day, the dub is tolerable. If you want an interesting, surreal horror film, 13 Game of Death is a solid choice. Misery is a film that perfectly captures the feeling of dread. Paul Sheldon, played by James Caan, is a renowned author who, after finishing off his title series, has a terrible car accident in the Colorado mountains. Fortunately, Annie, a local woman, finds him and brings him to her isolated farm home to nurse him back to health. Unfortunately, Annie quickly proves to be more than just a caring homebody like she initially appears to be. You see, Annie is Paul's #1 fan, and is such a big fan that she just can't bear to let Paul go. As the days stretch to weeks and then months, we watch a crippled Paul try to keep this psychopathic woman from killing him while he tries to find some way to escape. The slow-burning nature of this film makes the dread build within us until it reaches nauseating levels of discomfort. Easily one of Stephen King's best movie adaptations and one of the best horror films out there. Our limited cast does an exceptional job of making us believe this terrifying story. Shout out to Kathy Bates for giving us one of the creepiest performances in all of cinema as Annie. Misery is an absolute must-see for all horror fans. Well, we gotta have one of these on the list, or it just wouldn't feel right. Bear is a terrible film. From top to bottom, there is nothing good about Bear except how laughably bad it is. All of the characters are so unlikable that I guarantee you'll be rooting for the bear the entire time. The cast is constantly turning around and finding a fucking bear there. I couldn't help but find myself not only laughing, but cheering for our true hero, the bear. Like all great B movies, Bear is only fun because you know that people are actually trying to make a good film here. I recommend this only when you have good company and a steady supply of alcohol on hand. It's particularly worthwhile if you find the idea of a homicidal yet incredibly sneaky bear as inherently funny as I do. Like, it's a fucking bear. How does that sneak up on you? What the hell? I love it though. I love it. Pandorum is a well-done sci-fi horror. It's something that has become increasingly rare since the turn of the century. The premise of this film is that a crewman wakes up on an interstellar spaceship to find the entire crew has gone missing, and the halls are stalked by strange bestial alien monsters. The atmosphere of this film is where you will find most of the horror. The tight corridors are reminiscent of the Alien franchise, as are the creatures themselves. At the core of the film is the mystery of how all of this happened. While Pandorum may not match up to Alien, it does fill a void for the sci-fi horror fans out there who have been starving for content. It doesn't excel in any particular department, but it also doesn't fall short, and that's enough for a solid film. If you need a bit of Alien-esque horror but are sick of rewatching the trilogy, we don't talk about anything post-Alien 3, alright? It just never happened, Alien 3 was the end. Then look no further. Pandorum is your ticket. The Thing is the best example of show versus tell I've come across. For those somehow unaware of this beautiful film, The Thing is about an alien that can imitate a human near perfectly and spreads through physical contact. This thing arrives at an American Antarctic research base and begins to systematically turn the researchers into creatures. Now what makes this movie amazing isn't just the spectacular practical effects, nor is it the stunning performances from the cast, or the wonderful score that lays the tone of the movie perfectly. Nah, other films hit those marks, but what makes The Thing stand out as one of the greats of horror is the subtlety of it all. On your first viewing, you will be as lost as our characters are as to how this thing is spreading and who's infected and who's human. On your second viewing, you'll know where this is going, but you will struggle to find how it gets there. When do these people change from humans to creatures? Where does it happen? Who infects who? I promise, if you pay the closest of attention, there are answers to all of these questions. But The Thing isn't going to spell it out for you. I know of no other film that rewards an audience for repeated viewings and attention as much as The Thing does. This is a movie you could watch a dozen times and still not understand all of the subtlety involved. Simply put, The Thing is a work of art and should be appreciated as that. So that's it. That's the final horror recommend. Whew. That gives us 31 movies for the October to get us all set up for Halloween. Yeah, it's been a good run here. I've tried to recommend a lot of different varieties of films, tried to keep, classics. Like in this example, we have Frighteners, Misery, and The Thing, along with some kind of unknown films like 13 Game of Death or Pandorum. And, always gotta have a bad film in there like Bear, so that we have something to laugh at to kind of ease a bit of the horror, to remind us that not all horror movies are going to make you feel like crap. Yeah, that's everything. That's all of them. Oof. We'll be back for next Halloween. Gonna do something different. Probably not gonna do the 31 Days of Horror again, but yeah, this has been a nice experience. I hope I found some good movies for you and that you found something new, interesting, or maybe even just realized that there's probably something more to a film than you thought. Really gotta recommend Thing. Just go out of my way and say that. It's an amazing movie. And if you're too tired to rewatch it all, and you've already seen it a couple of times, go and check out Collative Learning's Was Childs Infected? Because that is one of the best examples of all of the information in there. There are other videos and other sources you can find to track the entire infection, but Was Childs Infected is one of the best cases for just showing you all of the subtlety involved in that movie. Truly spectacular, truly wonderful, honestly. Easily top 10 horror movie for me. But yeah, I guess that closes us off, and I hope that you guys had a good time with me in these 31 days of horror. And yeah, as always, if you enjoyed what you saw, give us a subscribe and post a comment below. Maybe let me know what your favorite horror movie is. Is there something that I missed on this list, something that you just feel like, oh my god, I can't believe he didn't talk about? I'll just post it below, and maybe I've seen it, maybe I haven't. If I have, I'll post a comment. If I haven't, I'll add it to my list of movies to watch. So yeah, that's everything, guys. See ya.